Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. Today, we are going to talk about the Steelers football team. And really, you can call them the Steelers, but doesn't everybody call them the Pittsburgh Steelers? So in previous videos, I have done the Cleveland Browns, and this is their dog bone. The Minnesota Vikings, and here is, oh no, Bilbo Baggins with his Minnesota Vikings hat on, skull, and the Green Bay Packers. And here we have Frodo with his G-set. And after doing the Cleveland Browns, I was thinking about which team to do next. And the Green Bay Packers and the Vikings are sort of rival teams, I guess. So I looked up sort of the rival team for the Browns, and it said the Pittsburgh Steelers. So because of that, and because of a request from a commenter, hi Norman, I thought, okay, let's try the Steelers. I admit I'm a little nervous about this one because the Steelers have a passionate fan base, but I will do my best, Steelers Nation. So here we go, Steelers. Okay, I will do my best. So I have made some little notes just to jog my memory. I am not my notes are too small. Hold on a minute. Close your eyes if you don't like moving cameras. I'm going to bring you in a little bit. I didn't realize how small they were. Real quick, before I start, I'm not any kind of expert on NFL history or anything. But I've been looking up the teams and just trying to learn a little bit about the teams and sharing things with you. Actually, before I get into that I just cut out, I wanted to say something about, hold on, let me grab my mat. The last team I did was Cleveland. And when I Googled it, and believe me, I work. I don't have a whole lot of time. And it said their stadium, I forget what it was, like US Bank Stadium or something. But someone told me, no, I had the right location, everything, but it's called the Cleveland Browns. I think it's Cleveland Browns Stadium, which I like a lot better. So that's just a quick correction. Well, since we have the map out, so Pittsburgh's stadium, this is the other side of the state of Pennsylvania. That's Philadelphia. Now this map is old. I don't see the side with Pittsburgh, but okay, whatever. Hold on. You flip it around. Here's Pittsburgh, the city. So their stadium is pretty cool if you've ever seen it on TV. It's beautiful because Pittsburgh's a beautiful city, by the way. It has 3 rivers. It has, this river is called the Allegheny, and this is the Monongahela, and they meet up to make the Ohio River. I'm going the right direction, right? Or did I go this way? Anyway, whatever. There are 3 rivers here. And the stadium on this map, it says Heinz Field right here. It's on, right. Let me see if I can see it right there. So you can see the rivers from the stadium. It's really pretty. And it was called Heinz Field. But I think just last year, Heinz, who was a Pittsburgh company, they make ketchup and pickles and things, were bought out by Kraft. I could have this wrong. I did not study this part. And so then Heinz didn't want to keep paying for the stadium, I guess, for the rights to name it. So it was sold to, I think, AccuSure, which is a Michigan-based company, I think. But anyway, so now it's named AccuSure Stadium. And one of the key features of Heinz Field was a ketchup bottle that it's like, it seems to me like here's the scoreboard and the ketchup bottle is up here. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I'm thinking it looks like. And this is like a, Heinz ketchup bottle, right? And when the team gets into the red zone, then the ketchup pours out of the bottle and it's like lights and it pours onto the sign and kind of turns it red. Does that seem right? So I should have written in pen. Good grief. I hope this video is okay. Anyway, so the ketchup bottle, I think, also I didn't look this up, but I think I heard they took the ketchup bottle off when it turned to AccuSure Stadium, but it was met with such disappointment that they've put it back. But maybe that's one outside of the stadium. Maybe I don't quite have that right. If anyone in the comments knows, please just feel free to make that correct. But anyway, it's kind of a cool feature. All right, so that's that. Back to what we were talking about. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are the oldest team in the AFC division. They were originally formed in 1933, and at that time, they were called the Pirates, which is kind of interesting because Pittsburgh's baseball team is the Pirates. I didn't look up if the Pirates baseball was happening simultaneously in the 30s and were also called Pirates. I don't know. But they were originally called the Pirates. And then in 1940, they changed their name to the Steelers. And that's because of the steel mills that were all over Pittsburgh and around that area. So that's how they became known as the Steelers. Let's see what other note do I have here. Okay, Myron Cope. So Myron Cope was a radio announcer for football. Very famous. I think he was the first radio announcer to be inducted into the, oh boy, I hope I might have this. I can't remember if it was the NFL Hall of Fame or the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. But anyway, a well-respected guy. And he had a Pittsburgh accent. That's how they describe it. I guess I listened to some tapes of him, and yeah, I guess he has a Pittsburgh accent. But he coined the phrase, and I might say this wrong because he kind of yells it out, but it's like yoy. I'll write it so you know. I think they spelled it like this. Yoy. And sometimes it would be like double yoy. So it's fun to go back. You can find them on YouTube, just, videos that have recordings of him talking. But one of the things that he did that was well known to this day, I mean, he was around for a long time, but he was the one who came up with the terrible towel. And he said he wanted to make rubber masks. I forget who, of one of the players, I think. But that was going to be too expensive. And so he just said, everybody bring a towel from home, a black or gold towel. And if you don't have one, buy one. And if you can't buy one, dye one. I thought that was pretty cool. And that worked. And all these people showed up with black and gold towels and waved them in the air. And I just happened to have a terrible towel to show you. I'm going to back this back out a little bit. So they're really just almost like a dish towel. And this one says, Myron Cope's official, the terrible towel, a Pittsburgh original. And I'll tell you something that's really nice about these towels is that Myron Cope gave the rights of the towel, making the towel, to the Allegheny Valley School, which works with like disabled individuals and children with on the autism spectrum, because his son was autistic. And if I'm saying any of that wrong, I apologize. So he gave the rights to the terrible towel. So I assume this one being official must be from that. And they have made over $3 million just, from selling these towels, which I think is pretty cool. So anyway, that's the terrible towel. And you would grab it by the corner and swirl it around. Well, now it seems like every team has a version of terrible towel. But Pittsburgh's was the original, and that was Myron Cope's idea. Okay, one of the things that Pittsburgh is super known for is called the Immaculate Reception. Oh, I should have looked. Was that Myron Cope who first said that on the broadcast? It didn't sound like his voice when I watched the recording. Somebody in the comments let me know. I don't know if Myron Cope said that. But the Immaculate Reception, some people say, debate, is the greatest play in NFL history. And it happened on December 23rd of 1972 in a playoff game with the Oakland Raiders. And I think at this time the Steelers weren't, okay, I could be wrong, but as I recall, they weren't the winningest team at this time. And so they make it to the playoffs. They're playing against the Raiders. It's like down to seconds left in the game. And Terry Bradshaw is the quarterback, and he's trying to find somebody to throw it to. He throws the ball, and I don't recall who was supposed to receive it. I don't know that. But it ends up hitting, I think, one of the Raiders players on the helmet, I think. It ricochets off, and running back Franco Harris catches the ball inches from the ground and runs it in for a touchdown. And then it gets called the Immaculate Reception. And that was sort of the beginning of when the Pittsburgh Steelers became like a powerhouse team during the 70s. I think that's all right. And you can learn a little bit about this at the Pittsburgh International Airport. There is a statue. There are two cool things there. Well, there's more than that, but there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex dinosaur skeleton. I don't know. I assume it's probably not like real bones, but it looks good. And there is a statue of the Immaculate Reception with a placard, and you can read about it. There are other cool things at that airport. It's a nice airport. Anyway, that's beside the point. Okay. Anyway, so that was the Steelers' first ever playoff victory. So yeah, that what I said was correct. I have a note that says that, so just double checking. All right, what's our next? Okay. The steel curtain. Oh yeah. All right, the steel curtain was the Steelers' defense, that they were so dominant that nobody could get through it. And so it was like, pull down the steel curtain. And I think in the video I did on maybe just the football basics, I had a piece from a Halo board, I think, that was green, and I go, we'll call him Joe. And then I was like, isn't there Joe Green? Anyway, part of the steel curtain was Mean Joe Green. And I have a note here, let me look, because I don't know these players. I mean, I know Mean Joe Green, but L.C. Greenwood, Ernie Holmes, and Dwight White were the steel curtain. So, that's cool. Another thing that the Steelers are known for is their coaches, or lack thereof. The Steelers have a reputation for their stability in their head coach. They have only had 3 head coaches. Can that be right? Since does that go all the way back to 33 when they were the Pirates? I don't know. But at least since they've been NFL. They've had Chuck Noll. They've had Cowher, what's his name? Bill Cowher, who's now like an announcer. And their current coach, Mike Tomlin. So 3. That's pretty crazy. So they have like a very stable coaching staff, which some people credit with, helping their team. And then the other interesting thing is they've only had one family own the team since the beginning. Art Rooney, I believe, was the original, and then his son and his grandson. I think it's just been the 3 of them. So, and you know what? Art Rooney, Dan Rooney, and Art Rooney II. But something kind of interesting is that there is a thing called, I just read about this, and I'm going to try to remember it and share it right now. And hopefully I have it right. But it was called the Rooney Rule. And it was something the original Art Rooney put in, I assume in the 70s, that NFL teams have to interview minority candidates for a head coach or senior operations, because back in the old days they just didn't they just didn't do that. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was good. Okay, so I have written down here Heinz, but we did talk about the Heinz ketchup bottle and that it was Heinz Field, now Accushore Stadium. Okay, their logo. We're going to make a logo, I think. Their fans are known as the Steeler Nation, or Steelers Nation. And I have been to Baltimore, to Florida, Arizona, trying to think where else, and have seen Steelers bars, what do you call them? I guess bars where they go watch the games. So they're like all over the place. They're Steelers fans, and they travel with the team. Like, they can be almost at any stadium and you'll see as many terrible towels as you will whatever the other teams. So Steelers Nation's loud and proud. And when you go to Pittsburgh, you'll start seeing signs that say, "You're in Steelers country now," which I think is pretty cool. Oh, one other thing about Heinz Field, there is a Batman movie. I forget which one. I think it was a good Batman movie. And they filmed it at Heinz Field with everybody like in kind of costume. But they were all local people. That's kind of cool. All right. I looked up their mascot here. They have one. His name is Steely McBeam. I don't get the impression that he's like some other mascots who are like beloved. But I think that people have accepted him now. It seems like in the beginning people are like, no. And maybe at first he was like a steel beam. I don't know. I was confused. But now it looks like he's a steel worker who carries a beam. And he has his hard hat on. And his name's Steely McBeam. And he goes to local elementary school. So anyway, that's Steely McBeam. And then their kind of call, what do you call that? Chant, I don't know, is "Here we go, Steelers." And there is "Here we go, Steelers, here we go." Or "Here we go, Steelers, here we go." And I think that the "Here we go, Steelers" probably originally was the "Here we go, Steelers." But then a guy wrote a song when in the 90s, I think, when they were going to the playoffs. Hold on, let me look. I wrote down the guy's name. Okay. It says 1994, and his name was Roger Wood. And he wrote a song that was called "Here We Go, Steelers." And it kind of goes, "Here we go, Steelers, here we go." And in the song, it named the players and kind of gave some stuff. And apparently, when they get into the playoffs, they kind of remake that song with the new players' names. So, that's "Here we go." What other notes do I have? Is that it? All right, so going to their logo, if that's what you call it, I guess so, logo. I'm going to try to experiment with something here. We'll see how it goes. I was thinking maybe I could do a thing almost like a paper doll situation. I don't know. It's only two. I was hoping that would be. I'll make another one to match. Hold on. I don't know why I thought that would be three. Okay, let's see how that went. It's not bad. Okay. So maybe we'll put it on this piece of paper. So the Steelers logo, 1, 2, 3. Oof, it's gonna be tight. Let's see. Okay, we'll make it work. So we need red. Is that red? Wait. Is that blue? Blue. Oops. Is that red? Scarlet. That's red. Oh, that's red. And yellow. Okay. All right. So let me put this on this. So their logo comes from, well, I thought it came from U.S. Steel. And maybe it does. Oops. Shoot. But what I read was it comes from like the steel, I forget what they call it in Industries. Oh, let me just look at a note. Hold on. Too much to remember. Based on, okay, it says American Iron and Steel Institute. I don't even know what that is. So apparently that's where it came from. But I know like U.S. Steel, who, by the way, I think is being bought out too. Pittsburgh's losing their companies. U.S. Steel has this. So anyway, I don't know. But so their basic logo is like these, it's called the Steel Mark, I think. And it's these 3 stars. Oh, shoot. You can see why I have to. And then yellow. Oof, doesn't show up very well, does it? Hey, that's not too bad. And then we'll just write Pittsburgh. Or no, not Pittsburgh. Hold on. I better not mess this up. Steelers. Better make sure I spell it correctly too. Oh, I gotta fit it though. Oh, that R wasn't so great. Steelers. Okay, it's not terrible. I've seen worse. And let's just glue those on. Anyway, what was I going to say about that? I don't know. Yeah, it's from this. I think it's called Steel Mark. And it came from the steel industry. So that's pretty cool. Uh-oh. Dang it. Hold on. I need my scrap paper because I'm too sloppy. You know, I had to show ID to buy this rubber cement. Apparently you can't just, because you might want to rub it all over your hands and make a ball or something. Something illegal. Okay, yellow on top, I think, right? I'm pretty sure. Oh gosh. Okay. And then the red. I should have looked up. Probably the colors stand for something. I don't know. Oh, speaking of that, so the Steelers' colors are black and gold, and so are the colors for all of the Pittsburgh teams, like the Pirates and the Penguins. Although the Penguins have blue sometimes, but it seems like black and gold is sort of the color for all their teams. Okay. So, there we go. Steelers. Here we go. Steelers. Look at this stuff, man. We used to put it like all over our hands and then roll it into balls. It's pretty cool. Okay. I picked the wrong day to quit sniffing glue. I should have done this like a football shape, but oh well. And then should we put Pittsburgh? I guess not. I think it's good. All right. So there's our Steelers. Did I leave anything important out, you guys? Well, one thing, they had one of the only teams who have twice had back-to-back wins in 74 and 75, and again in 78 and 79. And did I mention that they have... Okay, hold on first, real quick side note. I have been reducing calories to lose a little bit of weight. But the only place I'm losing weight is in my fingers because all my rings are falling off. Anyway, but the Steelers have 6 rings from Super Bowl wins, and they are one of only 2 teams to have 6 rings. So maybe, I don't know, maybe next week I should do the other team. Maybe. But yeah, so they used to say when they had 4, they said we need one for the thumb. And then they said we need one for the other thumb. So what are they going to say now? I don't know. Let's see, anything else I was going to tell you? They don't have cheerleaders. There are a few teams that don't have cheerleaders, but they are one of them. And apparently, from this one thing I read, they tried to have cheerleaders called the Steelerettes in 1961, and they had them for 9 years, and then just kind of went, maybe not. But I think maybe because their fan base is so passionate that they don't need them. I don't know. Maybe that's not it. I'm not sure. Anyway. All right. Well, I can't think anything else, so I guess that's it. Okay, guys. Let me know in the comments if I left anything out that I'm not really talking about, like players, current players, or anything like that, just because that might be a different video. You know what I mean? This is more just like basic facts, I think. You know what? I know one historical thing. Bring this map back out. I originally, see, here's Heinz Field. But before Heinz Field, there was a stadium called Three Rivers Stadium over here somewhere. And at that stadium, the Pirates baseball and the football team played. And before that, there was a field called Forbes Field where they played. So that's one thing. But when you go to Pittsburgh, you'll still see like framed pictures and shops of Forbes Field or Three Rivers Stadium. So like there's still love for those stadiums. But Heinz Field's a cool field, although now it's AccuSure Stadium. All right, Immaculate Reception. They've only had one owner. The mascot, Steely McBeam. Steelers Nation is all over the place. Myron Cope was a famous announcer. Came up with a terrible towel. They're the oldest AFC team. They've only had 3 coaches. That's an interesting fact, I think. Steel Curtain, just the Heinz connection. And here we go, Steelers. All right, guys. I guess that's all I have. I can't think of anything else. All right. Please let me know in comments if you have any other thoughts